A beautiful hotel, a man with a secret and an affair that's about to come crashing down. David thought he had everything under control. His wife, Amelia, had no idea about his extramarital affair with Sophie, his longtime friend. He had arranged this weekend getaway, a few days to escape the tension at home and be with Sophie in peace. But what he didn't realize was that his wife wasn't oblivious. She had been watching him, waiting. The hotel was no accident. It was her plan. Amelia had seen the signs, the late-night texts, the missed calls. She had suspected Sophie long before she confronted David. Now she was about to make him face the truth, face both his wife and mistress in the same room. But this wasn't about revenge, not at first. It was something else. A power move. Amelia's patience was about to be tested. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. David thought he had it all figured out. He thought he could keep his secrets hidden, shielded from the eyes of Amelia, his devoted wife. But Amelia wasn't the naive woman he'd married all those years ago. She was smarter than he gave her credit for. For months, she had watched from the sidelines, noticing the changes in David's behavior, the late nights, the secretive phone calls, the distant look in his eyes. And yet he believed he could juggle both women without consequence. But what happens when the one you trust most, the woman you vowed to love, finally stops playing the role of the dutiful wife? What happens when the person you've been betraying turns the tables and makes you face the consequences of your actions? Why is Amelia here at this hotel? What does she know that David has yet to figure out? And what twist will leave both David and Sophie breathless with shock, a truth none of them saw coming? David and Amelia seemed like the perfect couple. They had built a life together, filled with love, ambition, and shared dreams. Their wedding day was a celebration of everything they had worked toward. But over time, cracks began to appear. David, once the attentive husband, started growing distant. At first, Amelia didn't think much of it, long hours at work, the pressures of their busy lives. But then the late nights, the unexplained absences, the sudden need for privacy began to add up. Still, Amelia trusted David, until one day, a moment changed everything. She caught a glimpse of a text on his phone, a name she didn't recognize. Sophie. Amelia had known Sophie for years, and never once did she suspect the betrayal brewing beneath the surface. Sophie was more than just David's friend. She had become the one person Amelia trusted the most, someone she confided in about the challenges in her marriage. What Amelia didn't know was that Sophie had been playing a different game. As the pieces of their once perfect life slowly fell apart, Amelia began to sense something wasn't right. She kept watching, waiting, and soon, the doubts turned to certainty. The truth was far worse than she could ever have imagined. David had been hiding his affair with Sophie for months, but Amelia wasn't the only one about to be shocked. David and Sophie arrived at the hotel, their hearts racing, their minds focused on the escape they'd carefully crafted. It was supposed to be the perfect hideaway, a few days of stolen moments, away from the world they were betraying. But what David didn't know, what Sophie hadn't expected, was that Amelia had been watching every move, planning every detail. Amelia's arrival at the hotel wasn't a coincidence. She wasn't here to beg for answers or cry in the face of her husband's betrayal. No, Amelia was here for something far more deliberate. As she stepped into the hotel lobby, her eyes locked on David and Sophie. They looked at each other in a panic, both realizing far too late that the woman they thought they had deceived was steps away from making everything crumble. Amelia's smile was cold, calculated, as she greeted them with a calmness that chilled the air. She knew. She had known for months, and now she was about to make her move. David's eyes widened in disbelief. Sophie shifted uneasily, the guilt evident on her face. Amelia didn't raise her voice or shed a tear. Instead, she calmly told them, "I've been waiting for this moment for a long time." Then, with a breath, she dropped a bombshell that neither David nor Sophie saw coming. "I've already made my peace with this, but I think it's time for both of you to face the consequences of your choices." In the aftermath of Amelia's shocking announcement, the tension in the hotel was palpable. David and Sophie, once so sure of their secrecy, now found themselves caught in a web of lies they could never untangle. But what happened next would unravel everything. The news of the affair spread quickly, the media circling like vultures, hungry for any details they could get. Amelia remained eerily calm throughout it all, seemingly unaffected by the public scrutiny, but behind her composed demeanor, the investigation was just beginning. Police arrived at the hotel, poring over security footage, questioning hotel staff, and looking for any clues that might point to a bigger story. The public was divided. Some believed Amelia had been the wronged wife, while others speculated that she had orchestrated the whole thing as a calculated act of revenge. Was she playing the victim, or was she the one pulling the strings from the start? Suspicion fell on both David and Sophie. Was David's alibi really airtight? Or had he been lying all along, covering up something far worse? Meanwhile, Sophie's role in the affair began to come under scrutiny. Did she know more than she was letting on? Was she just a pawn or a willing accomplice in David's betrayal? The investigation seemed to be circling in every direction, but with each new revelation, the answers grew more tangled, and the truth seemed just out of reach. Amelia's calmness under pressure only raised more questions. Was she truly the wronged wife, or was she hiding something darker, something that would shift the entire narrative? As the investigation continued, Amelia's calm facade began to crack, revealing something far more disturbing than anyone had anticipated. For days she had remained composed, answering questions, offering her story, and playing the role of the hurt wife. But just when it seemed like she had orchestrated everything perfectly, a twist no one saw coming turned the entire case upside down. The affair. It wasn't just about love, deceit, or betrayal. It was part of a much larger, more dangerous game. Amelia had known more than she let on, and the truth was far darker than anyone could have imagined. The motive behind her actions wasn't revenge, as everyone had assumed. It wasn't even about punishing David for his betrayal. No, Amelia had been plotting something far more sinister. She had been working to expose a secret that could destroy everything David had built. David's involvement in a larger, hidden crime was about to be revealed, and with it, a truth that would shatter everything he had ever believed in. The courtroom was silent as the evidence was laid bare. David's emotional breakdown was nothing short of heartbreaking, but it was nothing compared to the devastation that followed. Amelia's plan, months in the making, had always been to reveal David's darker side. His betrayal wasn't just of her, it was of the law, of his own integrity. And as the truth unfolded in that courtroom, a betrayal within the affair itself came to light. Sophie wasn't just a lover. She was a key part of the larger crime, an accomplice to David's deeper secrets. The affair had never been about passion or love. It was about survival, about Amelia trying to bring David's criminal past to light before it destroyed everything she held dear. And in the end, Amelia wasn't just the victim of betrayal. She was the one who had outsmarted them all. As the courtroom drama unfolded, the resolution took a surprising turn. What everyone thought was the end of the story was, in fact, just the beginning of a much deeper revelation. Amelia, the woman everyone had pitied, the woman who had seemed like the innocent wife betrayed by her husband, was not just the victim. She was the one pulling the strings all along. For months, she had meticulously planned each move, each conversation, all to bring David's dark secrets into the light. Justice had been served, but at what cost? The lines between right and wrong had become blurred, and what appeared to be a moment of triumph for Amelia was actually the final stroke in her larger, more complicated game. As David sat in that courtroom, his face contorted with shock, his world crumbling around him, Sophie walked away from the hotel, tears streaming down her face, unable to reconcile with the truth that had been revealed. And then there was Amelia. She walked out of the courtroom with a calm that didn't match the chaos around her. Her face was unreadable, a mask of composure hiding the internal storm that had raged for so long. The world might have seen her as the wronged wife, but in truth, she was the one who had set the entire tragedy in motion. Justice may have been served, but was it really the right justice? Was Amelia's morality any clearer than David? What would you have done if you were in her shoes, forced to decide between love and survival, between revenge and redemption? In the end, who is the real victim here? Who do we trust when everything we know about the people closest to us turns out to be a lie? And as you think about all that has happened, ask yourself this: what would you have done if your trust was shattered by the one person you loved most? So what do you think happened that night? Would you have spotted the red flags before it was too late? The truth, the lies, and the web of betrayal, how much of it would you have seen coming? Let me know in the comments below. Did Amelia's calm demeanor fool you, or did you sense the darker truths beneath the surface? It's your chance to dive into this mystery and share your thoughts. And if you thought this was shocking, wait until you hear what happened in the next story. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Subscribe for more real-life twists and shocking secrets that will keep you on the edge of your seat. And as we leave this story behind, remember, the truth is often hidden beneath layers of deception, and what we think we know can change in an instant. Stay tuned for more and always ask yourself, what's really going on behind closed doors?